Imagine you start a business and every action of yours is closely monitored or regulated by the government, or you have to abide by a set of regulations or compliances which is both money and time consuming. What do you think will be the impact it will have on your business? More important question is, would you like to invest in such companies which goes through all these issues? Let's understand the concept of regulated industries. Hello investors and welcome to today's video. Let's understand the concept of regulated companies or industries and why are they regulated. First of all, let's understand this word regulated. In simple terms, you can say that the government is having very stringent rules for a particular industry. That's why we are calling it regulated by the government, right? For example, power industry, mining industry, agriculture industry, telecom industry. These are some of the examples wherein the government involvement is more than compared to any other industry. Let's take one by one. Power industry. We all know that electricity is like a basic amenity, and plus every government in India tries very hard to make electricity available to as many people as possible, especially in villages and all those far off areas, and the effort has been going on to provide electricity to every household, right? Now, if it is not affordable, then this agenda, this purpose will get defeated. So they have to ensure that electricity is affordable. Right? That's why you will see most in the entire spectrum of this power sector, most of the time government companies are involved. Even if there are private players, which they are, but they have some cap in terms of how much they can charge. Indirectly or directly, government does control that. Now, don't you think that will have an impact on the financials of these companies, whether it's government company or private company? Of course it will have, right? Another example, agriculture. We know how sensitive this one sector in India is, and rightly so, because it's about the welfare of the farmers. Now, every company or sector or industry which is providing some equipments or some raw material to farmers, let's say pesticides or something like that, they will be regulated to some or the other extent. Why? Because the government is taking care of farmer in terms of getting them a fair price to everything, right? Another example within this is subsidy. So the government provides subsidy to farmers on certain products, which means the government will pay a certain portion of that product price to the company, and only a small portion of that price has to be paid by the farmer, right? Now in this case, when the government is going to pay something to the company, to the private company or maybe a PSU company, they will definitely directly or indirectly try to control the price, because they don't want to keep on paying higher prices every year. Right? So that's the way they control or regulate the company or the industry. Telecom, again we know it's like a essential commodity or essential service now. Everyone has got a mobile, and everyone it's like a basic lifestyle usage we have got it now. Now look at from 2G spectrum, 3G spectrum, 4G, now 5G is coming. So 2G scam also happened. Again, we saw something called AGR due issues, where the Vodafone and Airtel was fighting with the government to reduce those charges and to waive off them, but ultimately the government won, right? So all these issues are the reason that even though the sector has done so well, most of the companies in India have either gone bankrupt or they are on the verge of bankrupt. So that's the impact of having a regulation by the government in a particular set of companies or in a particular industry, right? Mining, we again hear this news so many times. A certain number of mines got blocked, or they were asked to stop mining, right? Now imagine there is a company who has got a particular mine and they're making good profits out of it, and one fine day suddenly, because of some environmental issue, let's say, the government says this mine has to be closed. What impact this will have on the financials of the company or profitability of the company, right? But you can't help it, because it is for the public good or for the public at large. So wherever there is a requirement of taking any decision which is good for the public at large, for the city, for the majority of the population of the country, there the government prefers the masses or the public compared to a company, whether it's a public company or a private company, in terms of taking decision in favor of one and not caring much about the other, right? So that's how the regulations are built in, and that's how the regulations are impacting the company's performance. Though it is good for the public, but it is not good for me as an investor, because anything can happen to those companies given that it is highly regulated by the government. Make sure you watch this complete video and then take the quiz which is given in the description box below. Click on the link, answer the questions which are based on what you learn in this video, and you can be that one lucky winner who will get a book delivered to his or her doorstep. Please note that this link is there in this comment box only for a limited time. So make sure you take that quiz, and all the best for the book. Let's get back to the video. Now, because of these regulations, it is very tough for the company to first of all become something which is a fundamentally sound company, and to perform consistently when all these stringent rules and regulations are impacting their business in some or the other way. It's not easy. No matter how good the management is, even then it's not about the management, it's more about the industry structure or the government regulations around it. Now, there's a very interesting quote by Warren Buffett. He says, when a management with the reputation of brilliance tackles a business with a reputation of bad economics, it is the reputation of the business that remains intact. Very interesting. So he's saying, let's say there is some management who is really capable, brilliant, right? And they are managing a company or an industry, a company which is in an industry which has this basic problem of being in the bad economics, or let's say in the regulated industry. Now, no matter how capable the management is, just because the structure of the industry is such, just because the regulations in the industry is such, the capability of management will not make much difference to the performance of the company. So in the end, the reputation of the business will remain the same, that it is in a bad industry or a bad economics, but the reputation of management will change, because now people will think that we thought they are good people, they are efficient people and capable people, but they actually are not. So they had a reputation of brilliance, the management, now they don't, right? So it's not about who is managing, it is sometimes about what industry you are, what company you are managing and what industry it is in. Another important angle in this, even banks in India or NBFCs in India are highly regulated. So should you avoid those sectors as well? In my opinion, now this is an exception. Now, to understand this exception, first understand the impact the regulations is having. As I shared with you a few minutes back, when telecom is getting regulated, or let's say mining is getting regulated, or power and agriculture is getting regulated, there is a cap in terms of, in a couple of industries, there is a cap in terms of how much the company can charge the user, right? And that is impacting the company's financials, because they can't just keep on building their profits and revenues the way other companies can. Now, in case of banks, even though they are regulated, and they must be regulated because it's the backbone of any economy, right? So even though they are regulated, they do not have any direct or indirect control by the government in terms of how much they can charge to the customer for their services. For example, last time when any check bounce happened with you or anyone in your circle, ask them how much charges did the bank deduct for that simple one check bounce. Even if some check came to your account and that because of that other person's fault, you were the beneficiary, you were supposed to get the money, and the check bounced, that person will get some penalty in the bank account of his, but you will also get some penalty. Why? Because the check bounced in your account as well. Now, 200, 300, 400, 500 rupees is the kind of money which banks are charging, and there is no such control by the government here in this case, wherein they will say, no, you cannot charge more than 50 rupees or more than 20 rupees, right? So even though the banks or NBFCs are regulated, but the regulation is more in terms of safeguarding the public rather than capping the price or the profitability or revenue of the company. So in this case, I would say banks and NBFCs kind of industries are exceptions, even though they are regulated, but I don't think that regulation is impacting the growth of the company or growth of the business. So that's how you look at whether the company is regulated or not. And if it is regulated, then what kind of regulation it is, what way it is impacting the company's performance and growth. And then that's how you take a call whether you want to go ahead with this industry or not. I hope the concept is clear to you, and you will be able to take calls in your portfolio whether you are investing in any regulated company or not, and whether you should take this call of moving out or maybe staying away from such companies in future as well. Thank you so much for today. That's all. And please make sure that you like, subscribe and share, and do share your comments in the section below, and let us know what else you want us to talk about in this channel. Thank you so much.